Hi, and welcome to the Your Good News podcast with me, Katherine Getty. It's easy to believe the news around us that the world is dark and the future is the same. But what if we chose something different? What if we chose to find the good news in each day? This podcast is a collection of interviews with friends, mentors, colleagues on their good news. From business to health to politics and everything in between, it's my hope that you leave with a boost and find your good news. Welcome back to another episode of the Your Good News podcast. I am beyond grateful that you have joined for another episode. So as I begin every episode, I'm going to start with some good news. And my good news for this week is the joy of good friends and family. In a time that often is uncertain and can feel scary, it is vital to have those that will support you, that will challenge you when you are astray, that will sit with you in the uncomfortable. To my friends and family, I love you. I thank you. I hope I make you feel 1/10 of the way you do for me. So today we have a special recap episode. I pulled a few clips from a variety of episodes to highlight and really bring home the narrative that we are all enough and how we are untapped in our potential if we only believe it. That when we question who we are, we need to think, why not? To understanding that we can fully control our reaction to any situation. I'll be setting up each clip, so here we go. First up, let's set the foundation. From my solo episode 21, let's delve into the idea of why not. The idea of why not has been a mantra even more so in the last year. This quiet drumbeat has been the reason I said yes to myself more in a variety of ways. From this podcast to opening myself up to relationships, to being more honest with the need of healthy barriers. I kept thinking about why I had to take a chance. Because when I started this, it was born out of a desire to find more good news, share more good news. It was the summer of 2020, and I admittedly was really sinking into a place where I could believe the bad every single day. I felt strongly that there was good news around us, somehow. Even oftentimes when it didn't feel like it, I knew there had to be something I could latch on to. Maybe it's a new name for a gratitude practice. I've been thinking about that a lot lately, that finding good news is really about finding the gratitude in each day. But it's more so just the idea of recognizing the little joys we have in each day. Some days it's calling a friend after way too long, or grabbing a cup of coffee and saying hi to the barista, or maybe it's even just a healthy prognosis for a family member. There is good, maybe just the shadows that makes it hard to see. If I'm honest about the podcast, the idea of why not didn't mean immediate action. While it could for a lot of people mean that they're going to why not means they're going to just go. For me and for the Your Good News podcast, I slowly started from buying a mic to taking a course over a very long few months to telling just a few friends. I, for a while, let the why be my narrative. Why me? Why should I host a podcast? Who would even listen to me? Why me? Why should I share other good news? And it took me a while to realize I let that why be my narrative, all of those whys. Then I also had to live with the disappointment of not doing something I kept thinking about. It took putting it down on a piece of paper to claim it as an option that I started to in earnest work on the podcast. I asked those around me to share their good news. And slowly but surely, this little engine that could grew. I'm proud that I've created something that brings folks joy, something that fills others' cups so that they can share their good news. So this is my question for you today to just noodle on. Are there areas where you are living in the why? I'd encourage you to say, why not? With the idea at the forefront of why not to chasing those dreams, let's delve into how we are untapped potential. From episode 14 with Summer Wilson, let's ponder this idea a little bit more.
I think that's great. And I use multifaceted actually a lot. And I love that you just...
Wow, we just had a mind meld.
Right. And I think people don't think either they have the time or the bandwidth or the mental capacity or the emotional capacity to do things. And we as human beings are not meant to just sit behind a desk and then go to sleep and then wake up and do it again. Like, that is literally not why you were created. And there's so much untapped potential. I always think about like just people in like third world countries or somewhere who don't have the opportunity to show how talented or what hasn't been uncovered in talent, you know? And I hope that people, and I've had people reach out saying like, you motivated me to do this. That makes me feel fantastic because I just know that there's so much untapped potential in so many people. It's just, they don't think they have the time to do it, or they don't want to spend the time because the time means that they've invested, and now people know they're invested. And if they fail, what does that mean? Who cares? If you don't do all those things, you're never going to succeed. So
I don't know where we thought failing means that you're a failure. Somewhere along the lines, like we took on that baggage, and I was like, I am not picking up that bag. It is not cute.
Amen, sister.
If I will tell you in this podcast, I have messed up many a times. Just keep going. You learn something new every day.
Exactly. I just feel like it's failing forward, and, you know, it might not, again, like you failed, but what did you get out of it? You learned for next time.
Now we have the idea of untapped potential from episode 19 with Amanda. Let's think about controlling our reaction versus trying to throttle the situation, which sometimes is very hard. I think you're right. I think oftentimes, and we allow others to write those bullet points. And it's a good reminder that we need to kind of be our own advocate for our lives and the lives that we want to choose every single day, which is not always easy. And there are things that happen that we can't control, but how we respond to it, like our reaction, that's our power. Absolutely. That's our choice. And lastly, from episode 22 with Hunter Wallace, let's fill up on the idea that we are all enough. I mean, how do you balance those inner voices? I mean, I think it's a daily, minute by minute situation sometimes.
You want to talk about having to remember the word enough? My ass has it tattooed on my body. I literally have it tattooed on my body in my handwriting. Thank you very much. And it is one of the hardest things. And I have it not only tattooed on my arm, I have it written on my mirror like a sociopath in my bathroom. I have the words love, drive, success, and enough written on my mirror. And I don't look at them every day because you're in a hurry. You're going to the gym. You got a 6:30 class. You come back. You need to quickly get in a shower because my offices are East Coast based. So I try and get on time for them. And the word enough, I'll never forget it. I was in San Francisco. I try and take one trip a year by myself. No friends. I go to restaurants. I go to a bar. As you know, like I said, I talk to everybody, so it doesn't take me long to find a friend or someone who's planning my death and I just don't know about it. And how I haven't been murdered in a city is quite questionable, like in my personal opinion. And I was having the best time. I was in San Francisco. It was my first time. I'd gone for New Year's. I went to New Year's by myself. I lived in Seattle for 3 months, and I was like, I'm going to take a New Year's trip by myself. Beautiful Airbnb right in Mission Dolores. And I'm like running around. I did Soul Cycle. I did Berries. I went to 4 of the best restaurants in this area. Every night I came home and I was talking shit to myself. Talking shit. I was like, ooh, you're not skinny enough. You're kind of fat. Oh, no one wanted to come on this trip with you. Oh, that person at the restaurant didn't want to talk to you. I was brushing my teeth. Enough for me has 2 meanings. I was brushing my teeth, and I remember taking the toothbrush and slamming my hands on the bathroom sink. And I just looked in the mirror. I said, that's enough. I literally screamed, that's enough. I'm over. I'm done. And I said to myself, because I have one tattoo, it's XXV, how old I was when I came out, 25, later in life for some, early for others. I said to myself, if I repeat this mantra in my head, I will get that tattoo. On the 3-year anniversary of my coming out, I got the word enough tattooed on my body. And it is a dual meaning for me. And this is where you need to add the second part to it. So the one is, I am enough in love. I am enough in work. I am enough for my friends. I am enough for myself. I am enough in that sense. Also, this is where I do it. Enough with the negativity and self-fucking hate. Like, we stand in our own ways. And I might be standing in my own ways in 5-inch heels looking like a dime piece, but I'm still standing in my own way. And I have to truly remember that because, there's a stupid phrase and it's like, it's egotistical, but it was out of a comedy show, but it kind of sat me in this weird way. And it's rule number one, I am number one to myself. Rule number two, you're number two. Or rule number three, remember rules 1 and 2. Like, because you just have to, if you don't put yourself first in certain scenarios and you're always looking out for other people. And as you know, I'm a carer, I love, and I want to make sure people are fine. But I really do have to remember that sometimes. I have to go on a walk. I have to go listen to a podcast by myself. Your Good News podcast. Oh, branding. And it really is like, it's that enough word, having that dual meaning. Because not only telling yourself that you're enough, but also telling yourself enough with the fucking self-hate. Like, get out of here, demons. Like, see you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you again for joining this year and joining today's episode of the Your Good News podcast. I so enjoyed highlighting some takeaways from just a few episodes. Each message tied together, I hope, brings you a little bit of lift, boost, some good news. So if you liked, please share, subscribe, leave a review, and join us next week for another episode of the Your Good News podcast.